Welcome back to the channel of Truth, Trust and Transparency. Today I'm breaking down another viewer question. I think this is the third or fourth or fifth in a row. This one comes from Tim F in Sydney. I don't usually name people, but this one is directly under Sunday's video. So it's out there for everyone to see. He said, another great video, mate. Very informative. I'm looking at doing a development soon. Wondering best options. I have about 350 grand in cash for a project with $920,000 pre-approval. Would you have any ideas what I could do for that? I was thinking a duplex, buy established front house, split the land, build the house at the rear, then sell both, then sell both separate maybe. Some ideas would be great. Thanks. Not financial advice, I know. Cheers. Already have a small portfolio, house with a granny flat and another house, but looking to build capital fast, not buy and hold for 10 plus years to use towards retirement. Thanks again, Tim. Tim, like I say to everyone, you need to start with the plan first, where you want to be, what you want to retire on, how much money, how many years do you have left available working career or that you can put up with, and we can plan back off that. But development type based questions, usually, 3 to 5 properties are decent to use, but if I was to give you my opinion, I can't give financial advice on this channel, but there's sort of two ways to finance. There's multiple ways. People say that 7, 8, 9 ways, but the two main ways to fund a development site is number one is conventional way, and that is you buy it as a investment property. Obviously, this is not financial advice. Talk to your accountant and your financial team. You buy it as an investment property under a, say, PTY Ltd company structure. You put down a 20% deposit and you secure the land that way. Then you get the approval, uplift, get the reval and run into it there. The second is if you use development finance, where you put down a hefty deposit, it's some sort of land banking facility while you get it approved, and then you run into it. The issue that you're going to have, Tim, if you go down the development finance route is that any development site that you want to acquire, especially with what you have available, will likely need 30 to 40% deposit. Now, if you've only got 350 grand cash, and with the rest of the money that you need to complete the development, I'm going to say that option may be out of the picture for you. Because if we say 30% deposit, even on a $500,000 property, you're going to need anywhere between 150 to 200, which doesn't leave you a lot of wiggle room for all your other costs. And your issue is going to be with that as I've said before, is those sorts of deals when you get really, really small and low in purchase price value, there's obviously a very low ceiling what you can sell for. You don't have a really huge margin. And if it's your first, you then run the risk of, doing a 2-year development to make 150 grand when your portfolio could have been making that and you've been extremely passive. So the conventional way that I'm going to talk about how you could secure it is today's video. Now, the benefit of this is you only need a 20% deposit, which is great. The drawbacks and the cons for this, the conventional way, is that once you secure the site and you get a DA, depending on the type of project, that lender may require you to put in more money because you don't have, they'll only obviously lend you a certain amount. And if you've only put in 20%, they usually want to see you have, a fair bit of skin in the game. And it depends on the end value as well of that finished product. So let's run through costs at, say, a 900K purchase price. And to be honest, that gives you a lot of options. It gives you a lot of options in New South Wales, gives you a lot of options, up the coast, Queensland, Victoria. 900K is a great starting point. And we're going to break down a few of the costs that I think you need just to sort of run through and get it through your head where you'd spend that sort of money. Now, deposit, $180,000. You're going to have stamp duty of $35,000. Deposit, stamps, $35,000. You're also going to have 10K of other closing costs. So these are going to be all those other yucky building in pests, and also you're going to be paying someone to set up that PTY Ltd and also potentially a company trust, depending on where you're going to put the profits and how you're going to use them after you finish. That's something you need to speak to your accountant with. I can't give you that advice because I don't know, Tim, what you want to do with it. But closing costs, you know, after you've bought the property, you're probably also looking at then 50K for DA costs. 50 grand for DA plus CC costs. This is, I remember, developers out there will know this is only small scale, so it's nothing large, and I've done DA and CC for less than that. You'll also have about 20 grand worth of stat fees. Now, the type of, let's just quickly as well before we get $20,000 for stat fees. So these are things like council contributions, state contributions, long service levy, all those other little fees that start to add up, $20,000. You're going to have $10,000 of financing costs. So that's going to be stuff like a valuation, that's going to be stuff like a QS report, and all those other little things that you need to do and put together, $10,000. And you're also probably going to need to have about $10,000 for holding. You may decide to get the property rented out, or you might decide to get the property rented out, but you're going to have council water rates. You're going to have maybe this, you know, maintenance or anything like that. You're also going to have the difference between the loan and the rent on that property. So you're going to need about $10,000 of holding costs. So all up, this particular project, I believe that's about $315,000. Now let me tell you about the type of property and the type of development I think that you could do. Remember, this isn't all the costs associated with the development because you have things like construction, but these are where you would need to be putting in the money. Now, for this particular type of project and to get you, you know, in the market, and because knowing that you've only put down the 20% deposit, I think you're right. Your train of thought is correct. You're probably looking for a battle axe block that you can put a house at the rear and sell off, you know, sell house one, keep house two, maybe keep the original house, build and construct and sell a second house. Or it could also be a corner block to do the exact same thing and have entrances, retain the house in there. The issue that you're going to have with a duplex, especially at this price point, is construction costs and all that kind of stuff may blow out. Because you want to demolish the house that's on the block of land, you are then going to be relying on the valuation to be able to stack up. Sometimes they don't. And because waiting for it to stack up, if it doesn't, you would need to then put in another contribution. Put in another contribution of cash, which it sounds like you don't have. So the benefit that you have in this situation is because you're retaining a dwelling, there is no arguments around the price of that, which is, you know, say if you bought it for 900K, right? There is no arguments around the price of that. Maybe if you're cutting it off, but then if you're building a 422, yeah, I believe you have a better chance of them going, okay, this is worth 1 point whatever, and this after a renovation of it stacking up. Now, I've put in something in my feasibility calculator. I have put in, with construction costs of the new dwelling, all these sorts of costs and everything else that makes up a feaso, I've put together something, a quick project, and whatever you're looking for, you would need to average a $1.1 million sale price across both of these assets for something like this to make money and make sense. Now, obviously, there will be slight variables, right? You know, build price might be a little bit more. We could get a little bit more on that new house build, a little bit less on the front. But ideally, if you can find something where you can put, you know, 25, 30 grand into the front house, you can get in equity uplift to, you know, 900, 25, 30 grand up to 1.1. I don't see that as a huge ask. And then something that maybe it's, you know, for example, a 4-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage that'll sell for $1.1 million. That is the best way to do it. Your fees and everything that I've put here will vary council to council, state to state, just a bit of a guide to show you sort of how that's split up. There's more costs to a project, but this is more so what you're paying in your own cash for construction, for example, interest on the construction loan and those sorts of things are capitalized and not paid by myself personally. I get a loan to achieve that, but that's what I can see someone, Tim, of your current circumstances and setup being able to achieve and potentially get into. I think development finance may be a topic for another day. Maybe when you come out of that deal and you're making 300 grand and then you've got $600,000 or $700,000 to spend, this can be an option. And the benefit as well of the development finance route is a lot of the projects that I'm working on at the moment is that I don't need to show any borrowing capacity. So I could have zero borrowing capacity left and I can go down this route. Whereas here, once you use up that $900,000, you're pretty much stuck unless you can move over to development finance. So that's my breakdown on the thoughts. Best off to maintain that front dwelling just to help you with valuations, and potentially, you can even rent this dwelling out whilst you're building something in the backyard if you get that fence up nice and early. But that is my thoughts on Tim's circumstance of having about 900 grand of borrowing capacity with $350,000. I hope Tim and the audience out there gets plenty of value from these sorts of whiteboard sessions. I'm certainly getting a lot of questions, which excites me. Let me know as well if you have any other questions on this or in your own portfolio, and I can put together, whether it's sort of in development or property investing, happy to put together more sort of whiteboard sessions however I can to help you guys out. Obviously, you need to get sound financial advice. Accountant would be someone I would start to talk to, and my broker in terms of a deal like this, just to make sure you get structure right and you look after that cash and what happens to that cash once you then do a deal, spend the money, and you get any profit that you make. A lot of people, I ran into people the other day that want to do things in their own name. There are ways to pay definitely less tax. Company PTO Ltd is 25% tax. So that's how we'd get away with it. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments, questions. Would really appreciate it if you found value from this video. If you can smash the subscribe button. I'm posting a video, or fingers crossed, trying to post a video every single day until the end of the year, which is a huge ask. And all I need from you is a like, comment for support, and also subscribe. That would be fantastic. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.